where visionaries, entrepreneurs, and artists dream, transform, and create. Rae TV. You are listening to Miracle Moment, and I am your host, Rae Irelan. This is where trailblazing, truth-telling, provocative, and successful entrepreneurs and creatives from around the globe share their number one miracle moment that changed everything, pointing them in the direction of igniting epic soul alignment in their life and business. These renegade souls will show you the behind-the-scenes, real-life magic on how to create a world-class lifestyle of true success. I am so glad you're tuning in. Hello, everyone. So excited for you to be joining us today on Miracle Moment. And today we have Amy Pomensky here, and she is just an incredible coach, a feminine, intuitive embodiment leader, a sister, a traveler. There's so much that she brings to the table. And I think one of the reasons why I'm so excited to have this conversation drop in is because when I was in the creation of Miracle Moment podcast, she was with me in Mexico, in Tulum, and we were playing and exploring together. And so this woman is just wise beyond her years and brings so much to the table for her clients, her friends, her community, really wherever she's at. So, Amy, thank you for being here. Yay!
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I got chills when you were talking about the birthing of this idea. I was like, oh yeah, we were together for that. That's exciting.
Yeah, so this is kind of a cool little like circular moment to bring you on here and have you share. So let's just dive right in. First, I would love for you to share what is most exciting that's happening in your life and business right now, and then would love to just hear your story of, what has taken you to this place that you're at now in your leadership.
Okay, so there's a lot of exciting things happening right now, and I'm in a big transition. For the past 6 months, have been on a nomadic journey, really in a chapter of my life where I've been traveling. I put my stuff in storage at the end of April this year, and I started traveling. And I've also been in the inquiry of where I want to live. And I've lived in San Diego for most of my life and really have been itching for a change and something new and something different that really matches who I am today. So while San Diego has been a good fit for me in the past, really feeling an energetic shift within myself, something that I'm evolving into. And my soul has incredibly surprised me that I landed here in Asheville, North Carolina 3 weeks ago, and it feels so good and so nourishing. So I'm going to be planting some roots down here, which is very, very exciting. So on the personal front, that's what's lighting me up right now and feels really good.
Oh, I love that. And yeah, I'm excited to hear a little bit more of the miracle moment that you're going to bring to the table, because I think travel, it brings so much reflection. It puts you in this space of just needing to be so present because your environment is totally shifting. So it's like, okay, what's here? And a lot of times it drops us into remembering where we've come from and what has built us into the beings that we are, and then also can create these launch pads for what's next. So really excited for this next journey that you're stepping into of being rooted and planted in such a beautiful mountainous space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels so good to be around the trees and the mountains, and yeah, just feeling really embodied and aligned right now, which is how I love to feel.
Yes, I love that. And I know that this is not like has always been your journey, is like that alignment and that flow and that embodiment. Would you be open to sharing a little bit about your story and how you got into this space? So that way the audience can get to know you, and then we'll dive into the miracle moment that you want to share.
Yeah. So my journey really started, our journeys all start when we're younger, and we learn lots along the way. We have this soul curriculum that we're being guided through, but really, my entry point to the realm of personal development and health and wellness came through my own struggles. I had chronic digestive issues and hormone imbalances and health issues for years and couldn't get to the bottom of it, and really started to look at some holistic and alternative solutions for that, and became really passionate about nutrition and wellness. And that was really my entry point to doing things unconventionally, of really empowering myself with my mindset, with my health, and doing things differently. And through that, I ended up becoming a nutritionist and a holistic health coach, and started to work with women and men in the realm of healing. And on that journey, I started to realize that even if people change what they eat, or even if they change how they move their bodies, if they didn't change the way they thought or their beliefs, then the habits would always come back. And so I really got curious about, what are these deeper layers that actually allow people to make the changes that they want to make, not just on the surface level, but lifestyle changes and transformational changes. And at the same time, I was also going through a lot of my own challenges with my own mental health. So I was diagnosed with clinical depression when I was 18, was taking multiple different medications for depression and anxiety and hormone balance, and hormones and all these different things, and ADHD, and just really going down kind of like that route of throwing band-aids at the actual root cause of the problem. And I would say that my mental health and my depression continued to get worse and become a lot more apparent the further away that I strayed from my truth, from my authentic truth. And at the time, I would never have known what that was. I was just like doing the thing that society tells you to do, that my parents told me to do, unconsciously, going through the success pathway that we're taught. And I got there. I was married by the age of 25. I owned a house. I had my own business. I had whatever you think you might want. And on the outside, everything looked perfect, but inside I was in a lot of pain. I was really struggling. And that really led to my rock bottom, and to hitting a place where it was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I ended up going on my own spiritual journey and dug really deep for 3 years, and got to a place where the clarity came that the life that I had created, the marriage that I was in, the lifestyle I was living, the business that I had built, all were out of alignment. And while they all served their purpose and they were guiding me in the direction to where I am now, they were not in alignment for me. And it wasn't just a chemical imbalance that I was having in my brain for depression. There was actually something on a soul level that was out of alignment for me. And so as I went on my spiritual journey, I really started to see, like I have some beliefs, and I have a lot of negative self-talk, and I have a lot of things going on internally that are creating this reality that I'm in right now. And I started to recognize that, I can create a different reality. Like that's possible. And I'm the one who can create that. And so I started to really work in the realm of empowerment and mindset work and meditation and spirituality, and my life completely transformed. And I'll share a little bit about that miracle moment when things really drastically shifted. But yeah, from then on, really, even this move to Asheville, everything is desire-based, desire-led, intuition-led. And that's really what has allowed me to create the multiple six-figure business that I have, to work with the soul clients that I work with, to have deep, authentic relationships that I have, to have the relationship I have with myself. And yeah, so much has manifested from that transformation. And it's a daily practice. It isn't like, everything shifted and then like my mindset was just up leveled. Like there was definitely a significant awakening that happened, but like I have daily rituals and practices that help me to come back to that alignment and to stay in alignment with the truth of who I am, and with being able to listen to my intuition and what is right for me.
I love it so much. Every time I hear your story, I'm just like, yes, so good. And everyone that gets to hear your story and work with you, I mean, you're just making such a positive impact. It's really profound to witness. So tell us, like, what was the the miracle moment in your life. What happened? What made it a miracle? And how did it shift you? And in this podcast, I'm really in the exploration of what are we defining as a miracle moment, and how can we both look at it and hear all these stories of different people's miracle moments, and how can we bring that more into our everyday to be living more of a miraculous life in general. So I'm excited to hear what you have to share.
Yeah, I love the word miracle, and I've studied quite a bit of Course in Miracles, and really looked at, a miracle is, in my perspective and what I believe, is the moment where we choose love over fear, where we shift our perspective, when we see things from a new lens, where we open our eyes to a new way of thinking, of living, of being, and really where we align and connect with that which we cannot see, with the universe, with God, with our angels, spirit guides, instead of the ego and the small self. So it's like that moment where we can get out of our own way, or that moment where we can shift out of a belief or a pattern and be free from that and align with the truth. So
would you say, like, in that, would you say that it's a choice point that we get to make?
I would say that it's both. I would say that miraculous moments definitely have a divine aspect to them, where our soul is ready to awaken to something new, or to see something differently, or we've been preparing for it for a long time, and then all of a sudden it shifts. So I don't think that it is just in our control. Yeah. However, I think that we do have the power to see every moment and every opportunity, to see it as a lesson, or to see it through the eyes of gratitude versus fear. So I think that we can choose it. I think there's definitely lots of opportunities for us to choose. And some of these bigger shifts that happen, these catalyst moments, these awakenings that we have, I think those are really soul-based. I think it's like our soul being ready to see what it's going to see, or to experience what it's going to experience.
Yeah. So I hear like the divine timing, and also our participation in it, and really like having that that moment where we get to then step in and take action from that space.
100%. Yeah.
Very cool. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this stuff. I could literally geek out on it all day.
Right. I know. Like, I had to interject. I'm like, wait, we got to go a little deeper into that. Okay. So continue on with your story.
Yeah. So leading up to my miracle moment, I would say, was really one of those experiences where we talk about rock bottom, having the breakdown before the breakthrough, being in an incredible amount of emotional pain leading up to this moment. And being in a place where questioning, who am I? What do I want in my life? What's wrong with me? Why am I not happy? Why are all of the pieces in place? I'm married. I have a supportive partner. There's nothing quote unquote wrong. We've got a supportive family. Again, we're financially heading in the right direction. I have the freedom to do what I want in my business. Owning a 3-bedroom house, like all of the things, right? And questioning within myself, like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just be happy? Why can't I just be grateful? Why can't I just accept what I have? Why do I always have to think the grass is always greener on the other side? Like, so much inner turmoil, along with the fact that like there were a lot of good things about that version of my life. Like, there was a lot of safety and comfort and love and support, and like things that were working in my relationship. And what I would say is, like, before I went through my divorce, it wasn't like everything was bad. And it wasn't like I knew I was going to make that decision. It was a lot of like inner discovery of what's actually happening here. So for a little bit more context, I met my ex-husband when I was 23 years old. And I don't know, like when you're 23 years old, we don't actually really know ourselves, many of us, and we don't know what's like true core values, what's important to us, what we want in our lives, etc. So we met then. There was a lot of compatibility and also a lot of similarities in our families, but like spiritually and sexually, we were not in alignment. And I was definitely on a growth trajectory of rapid growth. And that's just not where he was at the time. And so I got to this place where I had literally tried everything. I had read as many self-help books as I could read. I had been to multiple different therapists, life coach, spiritual coach, done my yoga teacher training, gone on yoga retreats, like journaled. I literally did everything you can think of. And I got to this place where I was just like, I can't anymore. I'm physically exhausted. I'm mentally exhausted. At the time, I had all these new health symptoms that were showing up. Like I literally had I had a yeast infection for almost a year because my body was just so out of balance, and it was so uncomfortable. And like I tried all the holistic remedies and like nothing worked. So that's really where I was. And I just got to this place where I was like, I'm so fucking tired. Like I've done everything that I can. And I remember sitting in the bathtub in the guest room in my house and just sitting there looking up at the sky for the first time. Like I had never prayed before. I grew up in a religious household, but not in a spiritual home. And so I didn't really have a connection to prayer. And I had read a lot of spiritual books by this point. And so I was like, I've tried everything I can. Like, why not? Like, this is it. And so I'm sitting there just like crying and in the bathtub, and like my husband's in the other room. And I'm like, God, whoever's out there, universe, like, I need help. Like someone help me. I can't go on like this. I'm struggling so much. I've tried everything. Like I give up. I'm really surrendering to whatever. There has to be a bigger plan. Like there's no way that this is all like meant to be like this. I don't believe that this is how I'm supposed to live. And I remember that moment, and just for the first time, like truly giving up, not in a way of saying like, I'm not going to keep trying, but like, I've tried everything I can and I need help, and calling in a greater power. And honestly, from that moment, I started to get some crazy synchronicities that were happening, very clear signs that came through, just so much clarity. And the next morning I sat in a meditation, and leading up to that, I had been meditating because I was waking up at 4 a.m. with like anxiety, like feeling like my heart was beating out of my chest, feeling like I was going to throw up in the morning, like waking up like 4 a.m. next to like my partner and being like, do I even want to be in this marriage? Like, do I want to be in this life? Like so much confusion and not getting clarity. And so I would just go meditate, and I sat in meditation, and I got the message that it was either you're going to keep trying to make everyone else happy, or you're going to make a decision that really is alignment with your truth. And even if, and I got the clarity, even if literally I lost everything and it was just me and God, like, then like, I have to be okay with that, and getting to that place of like, I'm willing to risk it all. Like, that's what I'm willing to risk. Like fear of my family abandoning me, fear of like hurting my best friend who was my partner, fear of his family, like just so much intertwinement and codependency and all this stuff. And I had to be willing to give it up. My house, our dog, my partner, our families, the whole life I'd built for 5 years. Like, holy shit, like, am I willing to do that for my own happiness if this is my truth? And I got the answer that like, I can't keep going on like this. It's actually not loving to the other people in my life or to my partner if this isn't my truth. I can't keep wearing this mask or being inauthentic in this way. And yeah, that was the catalyst for, that was in 2017, I think. Yeah.
Just love the moment where it's like, giving up everything will be worth it. Even if I lose it all, it'll be worth it to make this decision. And I think that is so powerful. That's like, it's such ownership of what you truly want, to be willing to basically die for your own alignment and your own path walking. And I think that's such, like, when you're sharing, when I think about my miracle moment of my car accident, it was the same thing. It was like everything is on the line and I'm going to bet it all. And I think it's really when we do put that fullness of ourselves all in, the universe does respond. And we have to be okay if it responds with okay, I'm going to take all of this away from you. And being in a space of so much strength and power, and I'm thinking of you in that bathtub, probably feeling pretty weak and out of alignment and low. And I can relate to that in my own sense. And yet you were so connected to your deepest power because you were willing to risk it all. And so the universe met you there. And it's like, would you say it's a gamble to be in that space?
I mean, yeah, you're literally risking it all. I mean, I didn't know how other people were going to respond, and I didn't know if I would be able to, I mean, sort of quote unquote survive on my own. Like I
Yeah,
at that point was
totally.
like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure it out. Like if I do
Mhm.
lose it all, like, am I willing to figure it out on my own? And what you shared about, when you take that leap, like the universe catches you and lifts you up and brings in all of the resources and the things that you
Yeah.
need. Because like, I swear, what I would say is after that decision, and when I really started to show up as my authentic self in my alignment, I started to manifest things like so quickly. My health, like what I was talking about earlier, like yeast infections went away. I lost 15 pounds, like without
Wow.
changing my diet or anything. Like my body was just holding on to so much stress and so much
Mm.
tension and so much stress hormones that were making me gain weight. So there was like the physical transformation that happened. And then in addition to that, all of a sudden, like, I swear I had wanted girlfriends who, like, for my whole life, I had just wanted to like be seen and be like really witnessed by women and really have these deep, meaningful connections. And I never truly had that. I had some friends, but just not that deep connection. And literally after my divorce, I could not imagine like the women who showed up and who literally came out of nowhere. I'm like, where are these angels coming from? Like, it was so insane. Like that started
Totally.
happening. I started attracting incredible soul clients. Like just everything shifted from that point on. And I'm not saying that it has been smooth sailing or rainbows and butterflies. Like there's been many more awakenings, but and breakdowns to breakthroughs. But like literally, like when that leap is taken, and I've seen it time and time again with my clients, like
Mhm.
the universe responds. It's like when you're ready to listen, like you're supported.
Yeah. And that's a huge piece is the listening. And when you were sharing your story, taking that time to meditate and taking that time to sit in meditation without an answer too, because I think, we share our stories and it's like when I meditated and then I got this answer and it's like, okay, that only happened after, how many months, how many hours. I know I have a story about like meditating and getting it downloaded and I went for it and it was like magical, but it took many times of sitting down and just receiving nothing and
Mhm.
being in the discomfort of that or receiving pain and stuff that needed to be healed first and foremost. So that listening element I think is so key and can guide us to experiencing the miracles that are there for us, but we need to hear them first, and then we can take the actions to follow them through and then to receive the miracle and on the other side. um it's so powerful.
Yeah, it's really fun to think about this also from the realm of energetics and frequency. So, like, sometimes people are like, well, it's just a miracle. Like, how do you know it's going to happen? And
Right.
one of the things that I love neuroscience, I love quantum physics and all like the science behind manifesting. But really, if you're operating from a place of misalignment, which means that you're experiencing guilt or shame or feelings of just any like low vibrational feelings that you're having, when you are willing to release that and let that go and make a new choice, your vibration is automatically going to start elevating. You're going to start aligning with a higher frequency that is filled with more love and more joy and more compassion. And simply in that, if we look at frequency match, like you become a match for something greater when you're willing to release that which is not in alignment. So I like to talk about it in frequency terms without getting too sciencey about it. But it really does create those moments when you're willing to surrender, when you're willing to take the risk, when you're willing to let go of something that is not serving you, whether it's a job, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, a place that you're living. Like, we like to, as humans, we want to have all of the steps laid out for us, right? Like we want to have everything lined up for us before we actually take action, right? And that's not how it works in the quantum realm. That's not how it works in the energetic realm. Like that's where the faith comes in. That's where the believing it before you see it comes in. And honestly, my friends and colleagues who operate in that realm are the ones who are making the most money, who are living epic lives, who are doing epic shit, and who are living extraordinary out of the ordinary. And like, it's kind of what it takes.
It is. And like, are you willing to be a match for a miracle? Are you willing to be that person that's living a miracle? And I think even that question, it like shifts things like, oh yeah, where am I not open to actually being that match? Where am I holding myself down in these lower frequencies and lower vibrations and feeling disconnected from being a match to a miracle? And are we willing to be that? I love that perspective.
Yeah. And I think on like a smaller scale, if someone's like, holy shit, there's no way I'm ready to like take the leap and like change something so huge, is really taking a look more on the micro level on a day-to-day basis. Where are you doing things that you don't actually want to do? Where are you doing things because you think you should do them? Where are you trying to, please other people, or trying to do it right, or trying to be perfect, and at the expense of a life that doesn't feel good for you? Like, what are you doing that's not in true alignment with what feels good for you and with yourself? And start working on that level. Maybe it's eating certain foods that are out of alignment, or maybe it's not working out, and like that would, create misalignment. Maybe you're hanging out with people who have scarcity mindset, or who are complaining all of the time. Like, there's so many places where you can start to look at these micro misalignments. And then once you start trusting yourself in those, and you're like, oh, I actually feel better when I do things this way, then you can start to trust yourself in these bigger alignment pieces.
I love it. It's so good. Yes. Becoming a match for an extraordinary life. One little day at a time.
That's what we're here for.
Exactly. That's the best way to play. And I love how I really do feel like that's how we got to connect. We both lived in San Diego, but then we also both were like, hey, we're traveling. Oh, you're going to be in Mexico. Oh, you're going to live in Tulum for a bit, like on the beach, and just enjoy this extraordinary life. Okay. Yeah. I'll see you down there, and doing adventures. And so I think it speaks so much to who you are and how I know you on a personal level. And also, of course, with what you're doing with your clients and on the business side. And it truly is possible, for those that are listening, like you can live this, and you can be out of alignment, and you can get yourself into alignment, and it doesn't have to take a long time. And also it doesn't have to happen overnight. Like, we all have our own journeys with it, and just showing up, like you said, like one day at a time, like just what's in alignment, what feels good, what's actually fueling me. That in itself will create so many miracles currently, and also bigger ones down the road. I love this conversation. I know we could keep talking for hours, but where can people continue to find you and hang out with you online?
Yeah. So come on over to my podcast, the Feminine Frequency Podcast, if you want to tune into some good vibes and inspiring conversations. I've had Rae on as a guest, so you can come find her episode. We have over 180 episodes for you to choose from. So come on over and hang out in that community and listen to some of the episodes. And then you can also find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Amy Natalie Co. And I would love to hear from you personally. If there's something about my story or something that we shared today that resonated for you, please reach out. I love engaging and connecting with listeners and would love to connect with you. So yeah, Rae, thank you so much for having me on. I love this whole podcast concept. I'm so excited to hear about other people's miracle moments because yeah, this is the juicy stuff. This is the good stuff.
Totally. It's the juice underneath the strategy and the numbers and all the success. It's like, this is what's really happening in the in-between. And I think it's the in-between moments that matter most. And then we get to experience and celebrate the big ones along the way. Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you everyone for listening and tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet, so you can stay up to date for new episodes coming out soon. And remember to witness and acknowledge the miracles and magic in every moment. This is Rae Irelan, and I'll see you soon.